Hello. I haven't made an instrument on spec for many years now. The vast majority of my work is custom built instruments as commissions. But I've just recently completed this electric mandolin, built on spec and soon to be offered for sale on my website. The reason being is that sometimes you have to kind of expand and broaden your knowledge, and that's what I wanted to do with this electric mandolin. One of the things I wanted to try was a shorter fingerboard, and when I say shorter fingerboard, I'm not talking about the scale length, that's still the standard dimension. What I mean is having 19 frets. Now the benefit of having that shorter fingerboard is that the neck pickup can go further towards a nut, thus giving a more mellow sound. Also what that does is frees up more area here to allow me to put a bridge pickup in. So now I've got two pickups so I can get a better tonal variation. The second thing I wanted to do was to try out some alternative materials. I wanted the instrument to be made entirely from temperate hardwoods. So by that I mean no exotic tropical woods such as rosewood, etc. And also I didn't want to use any animal products, i.e. bone or shell. So the body itself is made from ash. The top part of the body is a piece of highly figured book matched ash. The head overlay is from walnut, and the neck itself is some really lovely highly flamed maple. The nut and the saddle I've used Graphtec tusk material, so no bone used there. For the inlays, rather than using mother of pearl or abalone, I've used aluminium. So the N is cut from sheet aluminium, and you can see that I've got these circle markers on the fretboard and on the edge of the fretboard, and I think that works incredibly well, and that's clearly something that I'm going to be using on other instruments. The other interesting material is the fingerboard itself. It looks like ebony, it feels like ebony, it works like ebony, but it's in fact a man-made engineered timber. It's a rock-light Abano fingerboard, so it's not real ebony. And I must admit I was a little bit sceptical about it at first, but as I say, I wanted to try it. But having used it, I'm really impressed. In fact, so impressed I'd go to say that once my current stock of ebony has run out, I really don't think I would replace it. I would use this material in future. Okay, so what does it sound like? Well, this is an ordinary standard mono lead going into a fairly basic amplifier. We've got two pickups, mini humbucker, blade style, so you're not worrying about the alignment of the strings of the pole pieces. Each of those pickups is controlled by a mini toggle switch. Each of them are 3-position switches, with the middle switch being off. And it's important that you can switch them off. You'll see why as we go on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just strum a few chords, and I'm going to really switch the pickups from one position to another. And what that does, as well as the centre off, it changes the configurations of the coils. So they're both off. We'll turn the rhythm one on first. Now just the treble one. You've also of course got the tone control. vibrations of both pickups on together. Well, that gives you a rough idea of what it sounds like. But as I say, with these two little toggle switches, switching the configuration of the pickups and the volume and tone control, you can really get a lot of tonal variations out of these very simple controls. Now the observant ones amongst you will say, what's this switch for? So this toggle switch allows you to switch on or off a piezo transducer which is underneath the saddle in the bridge, and that transducer gives you a pretty good acoustic amplified sound. Now in order to use that though, you must use a stereo Y lead. So a stereo Y lead, you've got a stereo jack plug which goes into the instrument, and at the other end you have two ordinary mono plugs. Now, only having a fairly basic amplifier with one input, I've just plugged in one of those jack plugs, and that's got the signal from the piezo. If it had two channels or I had two amplifiers, I could plug this other jack plug in, and that would allow me to use the humbuckers at the same time as the piezo. So essentially, with one of these leads, you've got a two-channel instrument. Anyway, let's hear what it sounds like. Flip of the switch, turn it on. And like I say, I think that's a pretty good approximation of an acoustic instrument amplified. So there we have it, my latest electric mandolin. Couple of things that I should add is the whole instrument is finished in true oil and then hand rubbed with a crystalline wax finish. So it's a very natural finish. I mean, it almost looks like there's no finish on it. It looks like the wood itself is just shiny. And on electric instruments, I must admit, it's a finish which I favour, and also it makes the neck particularly slick when you're playing it. The other feature is that I make the tail pieces myself, and they're designed to take a ball end string. So you can make up a custom set by using ordinary electric guitar strings, and the reason that I've done that really is simply that you've got a much wider choice than trying to buy electric mandolin strings. So this instrument is being sold with this semi-rigid gig bag, and the price is £800, 800 British pounds. So if you're interested in buying this, if you have a look on my website, go to the for sale page, you'll see more details and an email address where you can contact me. So I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for taking the time to watch.